and the players struck their crutches against each other as they chase a football, as well as a larger dream of competing at the global level. Children shriek with joy as they watch a goalkeeper dive to block an attempt with her remaining hand. And amputee football, a seven-a-side version of the game in which players roam the field on crutches and goalkeepers have one arm, has grown steadily in Rwanda over the past decade. And players say they have found a community on the field after embracing a sport some never imagined they could play.
Pakistani players and teams will be able to participate in multilateral events hosted by India, but bilateral events remain off the table, India's sport ministry said on Wednesday. India also said the visa process for sportspersons and officials will be simplified, while office bearers of international sport governing bodies will be granted multi-entry visas.
And Apple has agreed to pay $250 million to settle a class action lawsuit over how it marketed its AI features ahead of the launch of the iPhone 16. The Financial Times was the first to report the news, and the lawsuit alleged that Apple exaggerated the breadth of features Apple Intelligence would bring, which included a significantly upgraded version of its assistant Siri. And the complaint alleges that the company created the impression that advanced AI capabilities would be available to users sooner than they actually were. In particular, and the plaintiffs allege that Apple overstated both the readiness and functionality of these features, particularly the promised improvements to Siri, which have yet to fully materialize.
You might think the big story out of Match Group's first quarter earnings is Tinder's turnaround. The dating app's revenue is slightly up again after quarter of declines, but we'd like to point to a comment the chief financial officer made about how the company is slowing its hiring right now because it needs more money to pay for AI tools for its employees.
Genesis AI, a startup that raised a $105 million seed round to build foundational AI for robotics, has unveiled its first model, GN 26.5, and it comes with surprise hands. In a demo video, the company showcased various advanced tasks performed by a set of robotic hands it has designed in-house. The model has always been the goal, because a better model means better intelligence, Genesis co-founder and CEO Joe Shen told TechCrunch, but the company soon realized that it needed control over the hardware. So we decided to go full stack, he said. Google is updating search to refine its AI experience by adding additional context to links like conversations from web forums, as well as a feature that highlights links from a user's news subscriptions while citing web forums and discussion boards can help users find answers to more niche queries. This design choice could also prove chaotic.
Chrome on Android now lets users share their approximate location with websites rather than their precise location, Google announced this week. The tech giant says that while some cases require precise location, such as when you're placing a delivery order or trying to find the closest ATM, there are instances when your approximate location is enough, like when you're getting access to local weather and news. By letting you share your approximate location, we're giving you more control over your location data, Google explained in a blog post, and you can still share your precise location when it's needed, e.g., for navigation, so you won't lose functionality. Suzuki has finally launched the much-anticipated Fronx in Pakistan after months of speculation surrounding its local debut. The Suzuki Fronx was first showcased in Pakistan at the Pakistan Auto Show, where the crossover attracted significant attention from car enthusiasts and potential buyers. Ted Turner, the flamboyant US entrepreneur who transformed television news with the creation of CNN in 1980, died at the age of 87, the network said on Wednesday. The mustached southerner, yachting enthusiast and philanthropist, whose empire also included sports clubs, had been suffering from the degenerative disease Lewy body dementia. Islamabad, the 6th International Pai Islam Conference, held on Wednesday, awarded the titles of Leader of Peace and Greatest Victorious General of the Century to Chief of Defence Forces, CDF, and Chief of the Army Staff, COAS, Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir, in recognition of his role in promoting peace and strengthening stability across the Muslim Ummah. The conference, organised by the International Tazim-i-Haramain Sharifain Council and Pakistan Ulema Council, strongly condemned the attacks on Iran by the United States and Israel.
And Peshawar. Jamiat Ulema-i-Islam Fazil, JUIF, on Wednesday held protest rallies across Khyber Pakhtunkhwa against the killing of prominent cleric and former MPA Maulana Muhammad Idris, said a statement issued by the party's media cell. On Tuesday, JUIF chief Maulana Fazlur Rahman announced that the party would hold protests all over the country on Wednesday and Friday against the martyrdom of the cleric. And about 100 pro-Palestinian protesters have gathered outside a New York synagogue for the second time in 6 months to demonstrate against an Israeli real estate event featuring properties for sale in the occupied West Bank. Counter-protesters were also present outside the venue on Tuesday evening as scuffles broke out between the opposing groups. And Ted Turner, the brash sportsman and entrepreneur whose ambition and instincts led to a media empire that included the groundbreaking news network CNN, has died, CNN reported, citing a press release from Turner Enterprises. He was 87, no cause of death was given on Wednesday. And piracy is rising again near Somalia. Since April 20, at least 3 ships have been hijacked off Somali waters and one near the Yemeni coast. A sailor's voice note from a seized vessel has spread online. As the US-Israel war on Iran shakes the region, is it fueling attacks on key shipping routes? In this episode,
the United Kingdom's Green Party leader Zach Polanski, a 43-year-old self-styled eco-populist presenting himself as a progressive alternative to Keir Starmer's governing Labour Party, is banking on a political breakthrough in British local elections this week. More than 5,000 council seats will be up for grabs on Thursday as voters in 136 local authorities head to the polls, including in London and other major UK cities. At least 4 people have been killed in political unrest after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Hindu Nationalist Party won the state election in West Bengal. Police and party officials say Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, swept the polls in its first ever victory in the key eastern state, home to about 100 million people, winning 206 of the 294 assembly seats, according to results announced on Tuesday.
The year keeps moving swiftly, and so is all of our planning for TechCrunch Disrupt 2026. We have an exciting new panel in store for founders in need of merger and acquisition advice. But first, we have a limited time ticket offer to share. Disrupt will once again be held in San Francisco's Moscone West from October 13-15. And for a limited time, attendees can also bring a colleague, co-founder, investor, or teammate for less. You can buy one Disrupt 2026 pass here and get 50% off a second pass of the same ticket type with a limited time offer that ends May 8 at 11:59 p.m. PT.
Aurora Innovation will start hauling loads in driverless trucks for distribution giant McLean, the latest company to adopt the startup's autonomous vehicle technology following a multi-year pilot program. Under the commercial agreement announced Wednesday, trucks outfitted with Aurora's self-driving system will be used to transport goods between Dallas and Houston. These trucks will operate autonomously and will not have a human safety driver on board who can take over. However, Aurora will still have what it describes as a human observer sitting in the cab who does not operate the vehicle, per an agreement it has with truck manufacturer PACCAR. When companies are looking for opinions or advice on a project, they tend to go to LinkedIn or use expert networks such as GLG, Third Bridge, or Alpha Sites. but they often don't find quality inputs despite their searches. Today, these sites ask experts to fill in a form based on their job title, which is then used to match them with companies in need of their help.
Huawei is expected to launch the Mate 90 series in China in October, and a new leak has now revealed early details about the Mate 90 Pro Max. According to tipster Smart Pikachu, the Mate 90 Pro Max will feature a dual telephoto camera setup similar to the Mate 80 Pro Max.
And Pakistani players and teams will be able to participate in multilateral events hosted by India, but bilateral events remain off the table. India's sports ministry has said. India also said the visa process for sportspersons and officials will be simplified, while office bearers of international sports governing bodies will be granted multi-entry visas. And police have raided around 50 homes and other locations, targeting people suspected of involvement in far-right criminal youth groups that have recently emerged in Germany. Prosecutors said the suspects were believed to be part of two groups, Jung and Stark, JS, or Young and Strong, and Deutsche Jugend Voran, DJV, which means Forwards German Youth. And a massive megatsunami wave created when part of an Alaskan mountain crumbled into the sea is the second tallest ever recorded, and a reminder of the risks posed by melting glaciers, say scientists. Last summer, a giant wave swept through a remote fjord in southeast Alaska, leaving destruction in its wake. And oil prices have dropped and global stock markets have risen following reports that the US and Iran are close to a deal to end the war. Brent crude futures, the global benchmark oil price, fell to $97.73 a barrel after the reports before rebounding. The price was over $108 earlier in the day. And a baby hippo found desperately nudging its dead mother at a lake in Kenya over the weekend is now being hand-reared at a wildlife sanctuary after being rescued. The calf, which has been named Bumpy, was just days old when it became orphaned, according to Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, a charity whose keepers are now taking care of it. And Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of breaching a unilateral ceasefire announced by Ukraine by launching a wave of drone attacks on several cities. The Ukrainian president said Russia had carried out active hostilities and terrorist shelling, targeting the front line, as well as firing dozens of drones and missiles at civilian areas.
Singapore's education minister has confirmed that teachers are allowed to use caning to discipline unruly students in certain cases. Our schools use caning as a disciplinary measure if all the other measures are inadequate. Given the gravity of the misconduct, Desmond Lee said in Parliament on Tuesday in response to questions about new anti-bullying measures announced on April 15, including one asking about the mental health impact of caning children as young as 9 years old.
Argentina winger Gianluca Prestiani faces the prospect of missing his country's opening World Cup matches after FIFA extended his 6-game suspension for homophobic conduct to have a worldwide effect. The FIFA Disciplinary Committee has decided to extend the 6-match ban imposed by UEFA on SL Benfica player Gianluca Prestiani to have worldwide effect. A FIFA spokesperson said on Wednesday.
A Russian drone strike has hit a kindergarten in Ukraine's Sumy region, killing at least one person and injuring 2 others, Ukrainian officials said. The attack came as Kyiv accused Moscow of violating a unilateral ceasefire proposed by Ukraine amid competing truce announcements from both sides.
And Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Beijing on Wednesday as efforts to broker a peace deal between Tehran and Washington pick up pace amid the United States president's of a pause on attempts to forcibly open the Strait of Hormuz. The visit and its timing underscore what analysts say are China's significant stakes in the US-Iran war and the role Beijing could play in influencing the direction of the conflict.